All right, so as I've mentioned, the one way math is most widely utilized in the real world is with your finances and money and being able to support yourself. So looking at, the big two main areas, we've got income, what kind of money are you bringing in, and your expenses, how much are you spending, or how much does it cost to be you? As you get older, you're going to be thinking about possibly whether or not to get a part-time job. And a lot of times there's motivation to become more independent the older you get and spend your money on things that you really, really want. So it's likely that you're going to be starting out part time and looking at wage based jobs, meaning you get paid every hour that you work. So let's take a look at the basics of earning an income. So you'll commonly hear gross pay. This is the money that you make before any kind of taxes or charges are taken out. Spoiler alert, you actually only bring home about 70 to 80% of your pay. A lot of that other money that, like I said, the 20 to 30% will be going for insurance and for taxes, federal level, state level. So they get taken out and you make about 70 to 80% of your actual pay. The amount that you're paid per hour is referred to as your wage or your rate. That's again what you get paid every hour that you work. There is the opportunity, not so much when you're working part time, but occasionally there is something called overtime, which if you work a typical standard work week, that's 40 hours, 8 hours, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So anything past that, you might get paid overtime. So that's kind of part of the extras. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about overtime rate, what that kind of means. You get paid a little extra for working over that 40 hours. And there's also sometimes with part-time jobs, the opportunity for tips. So we'll take a look at all of this and do some examples of each type. All right, so let's just talk about a basic minimum wage job or a hourly wage job. So this could be anything from a part-time job at McDonald's, a part-time job at Dollar General. Maybe you're even picking up golf balls for a golf course. You could also be a dishwasher at a restaurant. So any of those type of jobs often are wage-based. So when we're looking at these types of jobs, you want to multiply the amount you make per hour and the number of hours worked. So when we think about what multiplication is for, right, it's repeated addition. So again, first hour, let's say you make $5. Second hour you work, you get $5. Third hour, you get $5. Fourth hour, $5, right? So if I'm finding the total amount that you're going to bring home, how much money do you make? You would add those together. And again, when you have the same number that you're adding over and over and over and over, we use the operation of multiplication to speed that up. So you're going to multiply. Again, your rate, you're going to multiply your wage or your rate times the number of hours that you work. So let's take a look at example A. Angie worked 20 hours at Jill's hair salon last week. She earns $9 an hour. What is her gross pay? So again, here we're going to multiply our wage, which is $9, and she worked 20 hours. So, and again, operations wise, you can do 20 times 9, 9 times 20, whichever way works. I'm going to go ahead and do 20 times 9. 20 times 9, you can grab a calculator. You're going to find that her gross pay is $180. So again, that's before taxes, any kind of deductions are taken out. Right, B, in a movie theater, John gets paid $8.25 every hour he works. So this is his rate or wage he gets paid. And in the past 2 weeks, it says he's worked 16 hours. So gross pay, we're going to calculate it by multiplying. So $8.25, we're going to multiply it with 16. Grab a calculator. All right, here we go. We just need a basic standard calculator. To be honest, you're most likely going to have your phone in the real world, so no better one than to use than your phone. Get comfortable with it. Basic numbers, basic operations. So when we multiply 825 times 16, we get $132. So that's what you would get gross pay. On average, let's take a look at this application question. Push a little further here. On average, if he worked about the same amount both weeks, what was his weekly pay? So this is what he made in 2 weeks, guys, right? That's what we calculated above. And they're saying, okay, these 2 weeks, I add them together, I got 132. If I work backwards, I'm taking this large amount, or this total amount, and it's going to be split, right, into 2 separate weeks. So think about what operation that would be. Taking a total and breaking it down into 2 even groups, 2 even weeks. Okay, hopefully you were saying division. That would be correct. Division is used to take that value and split it into equal parts. So 132, my pen back out here. 132, if we divide that in half, again, easy computation, so I would encourage you to use your cell phone. $66. So we'd make 66 the first week, 66 the second week. All right, let's talk about wages and overtime. So wages, again, similar to what we just did, you multiply your wage rate and the number of hours you work. So we're going to start there. If you have a job that offers extra pay, for special duty, like you came in on a holiday or you worked more than 40 hours, you get what's called an overtime rate. So you make a little bit more money during those hours worked. So for example, if I work at McDonald's, I may make $8.25 for my regular hourly shifts. But if I decide to come in or volunteer to work on like a holiday, or I'm working more than 40 hours a week, I can make $10 an hour. So you get paid a little extra as an incentive. So the good news is you're still using the operation of multiplication. It's kind of like two mini multiplication problems put together. So again, you're going to kind of multiply your wage rate and the number of hours you work, normal wage job, and you're going to add it with the answer from multiplying your overtime rate times any, extra hours or special hours, you get that pay. So let's take a look at an example. Hopefully this makes sense. So again, we're going to calculate kind of a two-part deal. We're going to calculate your regular wages and we're going to add it together with your overtime wages. So Jim worked at a local greenery. Because of the holidays, he's worked extra shifts and he put in 52 hours of work. So guys, breaking that down, that's 40 hours of regular pay, right? That's going to be my regular wage. And then he gets 12 hours at like a higher payment, a higher wage. His regular wage is $6.75. So again, this is my regular wage. This is step one. We're going to multiply those two numbers together. And then his overtime rate is $13.50. So again, he makes $6.75 for regular. Overtime, he makes a lot. He makes $13.50. So again, there's that incentive to want to pick up those extra hours. So putting it all together, again, we're going to multiply for both operations or both parts. 40 hours at $6.75, and then he got 12 hours at the pay rate of $13.50. All right, so kind of speeding it up, I put all of that in the calculator and I found out the answer would be $432. So that's how much he would make looking at wage income and overtime income, putting it all together. All right, second one here. Brianna is currently employed at Target, worked 25 hours last week. She also worked a holiday shift for 8 hours. So again, that incentive. She made $8.15 for her regular hours, which would be 25, and she made $14 for holiday hours, which is also kind of similar to overtime rate. She's going to do that for 8 hours. So again, 25 hours at that regular pay rate of $8.15. And we're going to add that together. Again, there's my sign there. I'm going to add that with 8 hours at a rate of $14. So again, there's that extra pay incentive. Okay, again, kind of speeding ourselves up. I put that all in the calculator and got $315.75. So again, two mini multiplication problems. All right, let's take a look at the next section. So another kind of additional extra you can get with a wage job is one that comes with tips, such as if you're a waitress or maybe you work at a hair salon and you're the towel manager and you have to wash all the towels, put them back. All those kind of jobs exist, so you could get tips. So again, when you're looking at the kind of setup, we're going to still have that wage type base, right? We're still going to get paid by the hour. Then additional to that, I'm going to get paid tips. So I get to add on extra tips. So wage, we're still multiplying. Oh, I'm sorry, my multiplying. It's really hard to write on here, guys. And then you're going to add on the tips. So there's no additional multiplication in this one. You just take the tips that you get, put them in your pocket. All right, so let's take a look. See, Fred worked at a skateboard repair shop, made $6.15 an hour. He on average brings home $75 in tips. Ooh, so here's our green tip part, right? He makes $6.15 an hour. That's part of my wage. He's scheduled to work 15 hours this week. What can he expect his gross pay to be? So you're going to find your wage first. So we're going to take the hours and we're going to multiply it with $6.15. That's his wage. And then again, we're going to add the two together. We're just going to add on those tips. So we said, hey, he makes extra $75 that week. All right, so quick calculations again. I encourage you to use your phones. You can plug those values in. So all said and done, $167.25 would be the gross pay for Fred. All right, last one here. Sarah works at a Pizza Hut on the weekend. She makes $8 an hour, so that's part of her wage. And she averages $6 in tips. Ooh, that's my tip part. What is her gross income if she worked 15 hours? So 15 hours is part of my wage, so that's step one. Take those 15 hours. She's going to make 8 every hour that she works. Again, multiplication. Then we're going to add on her tips. But wait, she averages $6 in tips per hour. So this one actually, there's a little bit more involved. This is kind of a tricky one, but it's not just a plus a flat fee, like just like brings home $75 a week. This is $6 in tips per hour. And she works 15 hours. So this value is actually going to be used in both because she's going to work 15 hours. So we're going to do the number of hours times the amount of tips. It's kind of like an extra rate in this scenario. So computing that, let's take a look. This one is going to give us 210. And this is her gross pay. This is on average. You know, she mentioned she averages $6 in tips per hour. You know, for the one right above it, Fred, we said on average she brings home $75. So this is again kind of a basics, kind of how you take a look at wage-based jobs and how you calculate your gross pay. I mentioned, spoiler alert, you do only take home about 70 to 80% of your tip. The other is coming out for deductions like taxes, insurance, all that kind of good stuff. So we'll take a look at, you know, what comes out, what does it mean for you, and more importantly, how do you calculate it? Because that is what we're really going to take a look at in building a budget and making decisions when it comes to our expenses. So stay tuned. We'll look at that next. There is a practice activity for you to complete. Test out your skills with calculating what you would make at a part-time job. So good luck. Reach out if you need any help.